Okay, good morning everybody. So today we have another tour booked. We booked it yesterday while we were on the tour bus to the other place that we went to. So today we're going to the Cotswolds, we're going to Warwick Castle, we're doing Stratford, I think, which is Shakespeare's hometown, and his house apparently, and then finally we're doing we're doing Oxford last. I have kind of a more, casual outfit, and I also put my hair in a braid because yesterday was kind of a mess. So, can't wait. We're leaving right now. All right, so now we arrive at Warwick Castle. This was one of our most favorite things that we did, and I was indifferent to seeing it. I was like, who cares, whatever, but we've decided we just really love the castles. This was Jarvis's number one favorite thing we did the entire trip, and this is truly a medieval castle. So I'll give you some history. It might not be accurate. This is just what I remember and some stuff that I looked up, but basically, 1066 is arguably the most important year in English history because it was when William the Conqueror came into power. So he took over, and when he took over as the King of England, he built a ton of different castles and structures. So one of those is the Tower of London, another one is Windsor Castle, and then another one is this castle right here called Warwick Castle. So in 1068, he built this castle to be a stronghold of the Midlands. So obviously it was originally a wooden castle. And then in the 12th century, they rebuilt it in stone. So I'm always interested of when did they rebuild all this stuff? How old is the actual stone that we see right now? I'm sure it's been fortified and all that stuff. And you could see there's a lot of damage to this castle versus something like Windsor, for example. Obviously, it had been through major wars and battles and blah, blah, blah. So, and there was a lot of erosion and things like that. But this is truly I got more medieval vibes from being in here than I did in Windsor. Windsor is more, I think, a little bit, I don't want to say classy, because that's not the right word. It's just, this is just very decidedly more medieval, and it's also a little bit more theatrical because it was actually purchased by the Tussaud group. So if you know about the wax figures, Madame Tussaud, they purchased this, and you'll see a lot of wax figures in the castle. So that's why you kind of see people actually in here. But it was very similar to Windsor, but just, I don't know, it was maybe a little bit darker. A lot of paintings similar to Windsor. There was swords on the wall. I think that was what Jarvis loved the most about it, is seeing all the swords. I think he saw weapons on the wall, and I think his brain short-circuited. But it was really cool to just be in here. Oh, and here's another thing, by the way. They have a lot of King Henry VIII stuff. I don't know if he stayed here at all or something. I need to look into the history of that. But, they had all the wax figures of his wives, which I just find the whole lore with Henry VIII so interesting. I think a lot of people do, obviously, and I saw Six, the musical, with my friend Becky, this year. So it's been a Henry VIII kind of year. I don't know. It's just been he's really been intertwined in my life for some reason. But I just love everything about this castle. Once again, I love to be inside of these castles, and I'm a huge stained glass window connoisseur, so I encourage you all to really pay attention when you go into these places to just look at the stained glass. It's just gorgeous. I need stained glass somewhere in my house. I don't know. Everywhere when I went, I was I need this in my house. And I said to Jarvis, I'm I need to get a full-size painting, life-size painting of myself in our house somewhere. It just has to happen at some point. So yeah, a lot of these portraits and things were so intricate. Like there was so much gold, intricate tables, and the frames. I've never seen such ornate frames of paintings in my entire life. I was like, what am I looking at right now? I'm literally, my brain was short-circuiting. I will say the difference between Warwick Castle and Windsor also is that, people are like taking a lot more photos and they're, kind of loitering around. So, that was kind of, I think, a downside of it, but it's really, I feel like, a more friendly environment as well because of that. And it's a really great, I've just noticed there's a lot of stuff for kids to do. So if you have kids, this would be a really great place to consider. It's just cool to walk through this. By the way, it was raining cats and dogs. I think you can kind of tell in some of these clips, like it is raining so hard, but eventually the sun cometh out and we got our great weather. I'm not joking when I say we had like the best weather ever on this trip, ever in the history of England. I'm pretty sure, like the stretch of our weather. But I was actually kind of excited to have a little bit of the rain because that's Jarvis's favorite. He loves rain. I don't know. I think he's trying to be different. Here's a court jester. This made me actually crack up. Oh my God, it's just so funny. Love a court jester moment. But yeah, it's just he likes rain. I think he's trying to be different. But it was cool to experience that because that's what, London's known for. So luckily I had brought an umbrella. I was totally on it. They also had archers walking around and they had like those things you put your head in. I don't know what they're called. Gallows or I don't know. Whatever they're called. Where you put your head and your hands in there. People throw tomatoes at you in the town square. It was very RuneScape. Like if you play RuneScape, the video game, which I do, I'm like obsessed with that game. Just hit 99 archery, by the way, in that game. So very fitting, but it was just so Renaissance fair, but without all like the stinky BO and, I don't know. It was true. I don't know. I mean, but honestly, stinky BO is more historically accurate, I think, to medieval times because it was, unsanitary living conditions. But I say that also as I'm like planning on going to a Renaissance fair this weekend. But yeah, I don't know. I just really liked it. They also had a peacock garden and they had peacocks wandering around. And I just find peacocks, like there's something that remind me of Boo. I don't know why. There's something so interesting to me about peacocks. I love them. So this is something I would do. Like, first of all, we wanted to come back. Like, this is a place we were like, we are coming back here for sure. And, you can do afternoon tea here in the gardens. There was something very Mr. Darcy, ask about this view specifically, where it's just, you look out into these sprawling countrysides. I'm like, oh my God, I love it so much. They had actual peacocks carved, or not carved, not cut, trimmed into the hedges. It was unbelievable. I was like, wow, that is so cool. So just absolutely gorgeous, like everything about it, just so much fun. So I'll let you guys, look at stuff. They had archery, jousting, all of that. I'll just kind of let you look at it without me talking, but really, really cool. We love this, literally 10 out of 10, one of our favorite things we ever saw.
we call Joan Hart's cottage, and it's actually a small 2-room house next door to the birthplace. So this would have been a living room, and upstairs is 1 bedroom. That's it. There's no doorway connecting it to the rest of the birthplace, but the Shakespeares own both the big house and the tiny 2-room cottage. So William Shakespeare actually, we think, lived here in the 2 rooms after he got married to Anne Hathaway when he was only 18 years old. He would have been incredibly young to get married for that time period, so no money, no job, so of course he's living next door to his parents while he's starting his career. 15 years later, he's rich and famous, he's gone to London and done great, so he comes back to Stratford and buys the biggest house in town. Obviously the entire family follows him there, so he doesn't need this house once he inherits it from his father. The main property is turned into an inn, but he gives the 2-room cottage to his little sister, Joan Hart. That's why we call it Joan Hart's cottage. So when you're ready, you can head into the parlour, the next room, which is the very first room in the birthplace.
Okay, so now we are in Stratford-upon-Avon. So this is Shakespeare's birthplace, and it's just cool to be able to go in here. Actually, this window right here is interesting, and what I found interesting is that Shakespeare was famous even when he was like in the 1500s, when, you know, they didn't have phones, they didn't have TikTok, nothing like that. And there were people even in the 1700s that were coming to visit his house and visit his home, which I just find to be so fascinating because, you know, how was somebody so famous back in those days? Like, that's true fame. I mean, that's probably what's going to happen with me. Like, you know, people are going to go to the Burnt Toast that I used to work at and say she was here. I'm joking. It was just really cool. I mean, this place is actually only 20 minutes from Warwick, so it's a good sort of, you know, go to Warwick and then maybe you could end the day here. It's something that I'm, once again, glad to have seen. Do I need to go back into his birthplace again? No. But the town of Stratford is so cool. And once again, I could see myself here. Like, I could picture myself here. This place in Windsor were probably in Bath. What's kind of interesting about Shakespeare's life is that they actually didn't really know that much about him. And there's several years that have passed that there was no record of him or what he was doing or what he was up to. And that's probably why there's a lot of conspiracy theories, if you've probably heard them, about, you know, some of his work not being his, Sir Francis Bacon and all that jazz. But there was actually some drama with Shakespeare's life that I was listening to on the, you know, from our tour guide, and she was kind of mentioning it as well. But when he was 18 years old, he got married, which she was saying is, you know, very young. But it's interesting because he actually got married to an older lady. She was, I think, 26 or something at the time. Her name was Anne Hathaway. Yes, like the actress. And I think a couple months after they got married, she had a baby. So it's kind of like, oh, I wonder what that was about. I think we know. But yeah, so you can actually go see Anne Hathaway's cottage. It's like somewhere within Stratford, close by. And then you can also see Shakespeare's grave. So you can actually see like his headstone. So I actually wanted to do that. And this would be a reason if I came back, I would want to go see that. We didn't have enough time, you know, because of time constraints, but definitely something to check out as well. Yeah, I mean, like, this only takes 20 minutes. You walk through and then you're pretty much done. And the rest of the time we spent just walking around the town, and it's just really cute town. And there's this garden outside of his home, and, you know, like the Tudor style cottages. And there's something charming about English cities like this and like little towns like this that I just don't know where you could find this in the US. And I love the US, but I'm just saying, there's something so charming and cute about it. And there were, like, you know, troubadours, and we got some pasties here. They had, of course, vegan, you know, stuff everywhere we went. I just love that. And we got the best gelato ever as well here. Oh my God, it was literally so delicious. It was mango. It was so good. So yeah, we just had a gorgeous, amazing time again. And like, they had afternoon tea. So this is a place where I would spend more time. Like, I could spend a whole day here. There's a lot of shopping. I love Stratford, and I was so glad. So the next place that we went was the Cotswolds. We just drove through it. You know, if you know about like the movie The Holiday with Cameron Diaz and like Jack Black, it's so random, but it's one of the best like holiday movies. I love it. That was filmed like in the Cotswolds, I'm pretty sure. And it's just so cute. Like, to drive through it is so amazing. I love it. I feel like for me, I actually really prefer the countryside actually to London, which surprises me. But I do. I'm going to say it. So yeah, we just drove through, and we were driving through on our way to our final destination, which was Oxford.
sit on your own and have a coffee or beer or something to eat, guys, you're not obliged to go on the walking tour, okay? It's only for those who want to. If you've got any other plans or anything that you want to do, continue as planned. Do not change them on my behalf, okay? Just make sure that you're there at the meeting point before departure time, guys, right? I think I'm not forgetting anything. I'm going to set the time of departure once we are in the city, okay? One little thing that I want to point out as we're passing through very closely, on the right hand side we're going to see the entrance. At the very far end we see Blenheim Palace. Blenheim Palace is the birthplace of Sir Winston Churchill, very prominent Prime Minister of this country. Amigos, a mano derecha vamos a ver la entrada y al final se puede ver el castillo, el palacio, perdón, de Blenheim. A mano derecha, ahí se ve el palacio, la entrada del palacio de Blenheim. Este es el lugar donde nació Sir Winston Churchill, uno de los primeros ministros más importantes que ha tenido este país. Así que bueno, empezamos con la historia de Oxford.
All right, so now we're at Oxford, and once again, could not be a more beautiful town, city, everything. It's obviously most famous for Oxford University, but it's also a surrounding town, and there's a ton of colleges and things as well. So we actually did this tour. You paid £5, and it was, I think, a Balliol College, and you could walk through. And I heard that Oxford, there was a lot of places that were Harry Potter inspired, and this is obviously one of them. So the Great Hall in here looks like the Great Hall in Hogwarts. Even the fireplaces are in a similar, place, and they look very similar. So I just thought that was really cool. And they actually have all the headmasters, or the deans of college. I don't know what they are exactly, but they have their paintings and their portraits around the entire hall. So that was really cool in my opinion. We just got kind of lucky. So it's like right as you enter the main drag, it's off to the left, and you could just go in and pay £5 and do like a really easy, simple tour. It took probably maybe 15 minutes or so. So absolutely beautiful grounds. Would love to go here, would never get in, but some notable alumni: J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, Stephen Hawking, Emma Watson, Hugh Grant, who's another one that I can think of. Oh my God, I'm just totally, T.S. Eliot. So a lot of notable alumni. It's a very hard college to get into. But there's a lot of different colleges you could try to get into. They have new ones actually, for AI and things like that. So if you're, an emerging mind in AI, you could apply. But it was interesting because, first of all, this town is kind of reminded me of Bath, like with all of the sort of, yellowy, tan-colored buildings. And they just had beautiful courtyards and things like that. But actually, on this specific day, they were filming something, and there was all these film crews set up, and we're like, what is going on? I'm like, I got to get in there. You could see like the props and stuff. So I actually asked someone that was, standing by the truck, and he said that they were filming for, I think it's a movie. I'm not sure if it's a movie or TV show, but he said they're filming Young Sherlock. So we'll have to keep on the lookout for that when it comes out, because I think I saw like the main character actually get into his car and like drive away in a Porsche. I was like, oh my God. So that was really interesting and cool. But the streets were gorgeous. This is another one you could spend a whole 2 weeks here, literally, and not even scratch the surface. It's just gorgeous. I wish I had more time here. Everything about it. It's just, once again, it's charming. It's idyllic. I could see myself here. Okay guys, well, it's the last day of London and we're heading to the airport now. We just went and ate at Mildred's. We walked around Soho a little bit and then we went down to like Covent Garden, and then I was on the lookout this whole entire trip for a vegan almond croissant, and I finally found one, so I'm gonna eat that as well. But I'm so excited about that. I feel like it's just wrapped up literally the greatest trip we've ever been on, and just wrapped it up in a bow with the almond croissant. It's because I had one last time I was here and it was so good. I'm like, I have to have another one. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed watching this trip as much as I have enjoyed being on this trip. This was just like literally the best trip of my life. I can't even believe all the things that we did, and we're already planning our next one. So can't wait. Not looking forward to the flight home and then the drive back. That's an hour, but it was worth it for this trip. I would have to say it was worth it. So that's all for now.